There is something happening in your chart this week that most horoscopes will gloss over entirely, and if you are a Cancer, it is the kind of thing you will still feel echoes of well into next year. Today is not just another Wednesday. It is a checkpoint in a much bigger story your finances have been quietly writing since this cycle began. Let us start with the big picture, because everything else today branches out from here. There is a rare pairing active right now: Jupiter, the planet of luck and expansion, sitting in your personal income zone, while Pluto, the planet of deep transformation and power, occupies your shared income zone. In Western tropical terms, this is your second house meeting your eighth house in a kind of cosmic negotiation. One side wants growth and generosity. The other wants restructuring and control. This is not a quick transit. It has been unfolding for a while now, and current patterns suggest it continues shaping your financial identity until around mid-2027. Take a breath here, because this part matters. This means your sense of what you own, what you owe, and how you earn is being rewritten at a deeper level than a single paycheck or bill. Many people with this kind of Jupiter-Pluto dynamic report feeling like they are constantly waiting for a resolution, or noticing that someone else's financial decision suddenly forces them to adjust their own plans. If that sounds familiar, you are not imagining it. On top of that long-term backdrop, today's sky adds a faster-moving layer. The moon is activating your seventh house of partnership, while Venus is strengthening your third house of communication. Picture a bridge being built between two houses that do not normally get much foot traffic together, connection and conversation, meeting in the middle. This combination favors clear, warm words landing exactly where they are needed. And there is a second, more unpredictable current too. The moon shifting into Sagittarius, which in Vedic tradition often stirs a restless, slightly scattered energy, especially around focus and confidence. So here is where it gets interesting. You have got a slow-cooking financial transformation running in the background, a tender relational opening happening right now, and a mental fog trying to creep in around midday. 3 different timelines, one single day. That is rare, and it is worth paying attention to how they interact. Let us start with what is closest to the heart. If someone matters to you, today rewards simplicity over grand gestures. That gentle bridge between your partnership house and your communication house means a short, specific message often lands better than a long, emotional speech. You do not need to perform closeness. You just need to name what would help and ask what the other person needs in return. If you are watching this and you have been holding back a small check-in text, this is your nudge. But here is what almost everyone misses about days like this. The same restless, Sagittarius-tinged moon energy that makes your focus wobble at work is also what makes emotional honesty feel a little easier. When your mental grip loosens, your guard tends to loosen too. So while you might feel scattered tackling tasks, you may find yourself unexpectedly candid in a conversation that matters. That is not a coincidence. That is the same lunar shift showing up in 2 different rooms of your life. Speaking of work, let us go there next, because this is where today's scattered energy is most likely to show up first. You may notice yourself getting a little too caught up in managing impressions, trying to read what your seniors want, trying to balance being seen without overreaching. That is a very human response to a mentally foggy day. The good news, and this is the good news most people forget to mention, is that this kind of restless morning energy tends to resolve itself as the day progresses. Current patterns suggest you are likely to deliver what is needed on time, even if the path there feels less linear than usual. Now, here is a teaser worth sitting with before we go further. The same planet of luck that is active in your income zone long-term also has something to say about today specifically. We will get to exactly what that means for your wallet in a moment. But first, it helps to understand why your focus might feel like a radio catching static between stations. That static is temporary. Vedic tradition associates today's lunar placement with a dip in steadiness, a kind of mental drift that makes sustained concentration harder than usual. It is not a sign anything is wrong. It is more like weather passing through, and weather passes. Which brings us to money, where the bigger story and the smaller story intersect most visibly. That long-term Jupiter-Pluto dynamic we talked about earlier is not asking for a decision today, but it does mean any financial conversation, any look at savings, debt, leases, or shared resources carries a little more weight right now than it might have a year ago. The energy today leans towards small, grounded financial choices rather than big swings. If a bill, a shared expense, or an old agreement resurfaces, it is less a crisis and more a checkpoint, another data point in that slower, multi-year recalibration already in motion. Here is what makes today genuinely worth remembering. Most people treat a foggy, low-focus day as wasted time. But the truth is, the very same mental looseness that makes you feel unfocused at your desk is what makes you more emotionally available in your relationships and more instinctively honest in conversations that matter. Confusion and connection are sourced from the same place today. What feels like distraction at noon becomes depth by evening. Most people will miss that link entirely. You will not. With that in mind, let us talk about your body and your headspace, because they are closely tied to the same current. A restless mind often shows up as restless energy, so if you are feeling fidgety or scattered, movement helps more than force does. A walk, stretching, or simply stepping outside for a few minutes tends to settle a Sagittarius moon kind of day better than trying to power through at a desk. Some Vedic practitioners associate today's energy with colors linked to fortune and stability, and wearing a color like blue is a safe, simple way to feel a little more grounded, nothing more elaborate than that. If you are someone drawn to Vedic remedies more broadly, it is worth knowing that anything more specific, like gemstone recommendations, really depends on your individual birth chart, including planetary placements and timing. So that is not something to take on as generic advice, just something to explore with a practitioner if it interests you. As evening approaches, many people with this transit pattern report a noticeable shift, a kind of exhale after a mentally cluttered day. This tends to be a good window for reconnecting with family or close friends. Whatever felt effortful earlier softens into something more natural, more fulfilling. If plans with loved ones are on the table, do not be surprised if they end up being the highlight of your day rather than the afterthought. If travel comes up today, keep it light and unhurried. Nothing about the current sky demands caution so much as patience. And if you find a quiet moment, even 5 minutes, it is worth turning inward. Ask what you actually need right now, distinct from what you are being asked to give. That question tends to sit differently on a day like this than it would on a calmer one. For anyone who likes a quick reference, today's supportive tones lean toward blue. The window between 5 and 7 in the evening carries a little extra ease, and the overall theme of the day is honest words paired with small, grounded action. So where does this leave you? Move at your own pace today, because consistency, not urgency, is what actually keeps you on track through a stretch like this. Say the small, honest thing to someone who matters, rather than waiting for a perfect moment. Let one financial or practical task get handled simply, without overthinking it. And if a friend or loved one offers an idea or plan you did not expect, stay open to it, because today's energy suggests unexpected suggestions carry more weight than usual. None of this is about a single perfect day. It is about noticing how the smaller currents, a foggy morning, an honest conversation, a grounded financial choice, all belong to one larger story your chart has been writing for a while now. You do not need to solve everything today. You just need to keep listening the way you already have been. And if this kind of grounded, honest read on your sign resonates with you, staying close for tomorrow's chapter might be worth it, because this story is not finished yet.